But this is episode 125 of Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge.
You sound like Casey Kasem for a second.
Oh, I tried.
Episode 125. Ooh, it's Casey Kasem.
That's Pee-wee.
Oh, well, I'm not good at Casey Kasem.
We continue our tour of the 50 United States because that's what we're doing.
50 nifty United States, yes.
For 50 weeks. And this week, I chose Idaho.
Idaho.
1983's The Being.
Yeah.
Came out the year of the Jedi was released there.
You know,
Great.
I was actually wondering, I'm like, are you going to announce this as 6 years after Star Wars or the year of Jedi? Now I know.
I chose Jedi, that first trilogy, you know.
Yep.
But George, I have an age-old question about revenge.
Oh, what's your age-old question?
Starts.
Yeah, what is it?
Did the
Yeah.
farmer ever get revenge on his wife who bought bunk beds for all the cattle, knowing full well the cows would spend all night fighting over who gets the top bunk? They'll never go to sleep.
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
It's Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge.
Where we craft revenge sequels for movies that never had them. We're doing a tour of the 50 nifty United States. This week's stop is at the great state of Idaho.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're still in litigation. We can't do our wild card question yet.
And people everywhere are... It's too bad that the same litigation didn't extend to the age-old questions. I got to ask you a question about this, Tim. So, folks, obviously, you know, age-old question, this is clear. This is entirely the purview of Tim. This is something... Tim likes to add his own stamp to these shows. You know, he is the main guy. This is something he does himself. What is your goal with those?
I'm not the main guy.
Yes,
I'm just writing revenge.
What is your goal for the... What is your goal for the age olds?
I'm going to make a book. A joke a day, a joke a week. How many pages is that in a year?
Don't tie in with the jokes don't tie in with what we're doing necessarily.
Oh, it may. What was that? Cows?
May
Bunk beds.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just they're very weird. They actually do remind me. Remember, there was like scholastic book fairs, and like some kids would just like they'd come in your school, and some kids would just get the joke book ones. 50 wacky jokes.
That was me.
Yeah, they're that sort of joke. They're not biting or anything. They're just kind of there. Just like little turds we float out at the beginning of each episode to try to get people. It's like we taunt people like, go ahead. You really want to listen to the rest of this?
Yeah.
That should be the age-old question. Who's still listening to this podcast? Actually, I do want to talk about one of these days who we think a hypothetical, like, Seddy Bimco listener is.
Okay.
Like, if we had to guess, like, if we had to pick one of our listeners out of a lineup, how would we hypothetically describe them?
They eat many mega stuffed Oreos.
Right, so far, you're describing specifically occasional co-host Kevin Cablasto.
They watch a lot of...
Might be our only listener for all I know.
Well, the Alabama show listens. I want to thank them. A podcast.
Oh yeah, that was actually really.
It's called Taking It Down. That's the name of the podcast. Yeah,
fun podcast. I gave it a listen. They gave us a nice little toss out up front. If you like listening to shows about three buddies with all of them with very soothing, nice voices, just kind of talking about stuff like it's like you're sitting in on a group of friends. I liked it.
Well,
Thumbs
up.
I
heard had two people. They talked about some TV shows I hadn't seen, like Ripley, which everybody likes, but I haven't seen it.
Is that all right? I actually don't know about Ripley. Is that Ripley's Believe It or Not? Ripley from Alien, or like
the talented,
Mister? Okay,
yes, it's a show.
Is it really?
Yep. Oh, should we talk about Idaho?
Let's talk about Idaho. All right, Idaho, 43rd state. Its capital is Boise. Population. Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You gonna cut me off? Population 1.9 million people. Less people than live in Brooklyn.
Whoa.
Yep.
Lots of cows? No, lots of potatoes.
Lots of potatoes. And you know what? I would say I would feel bad about making fun of Idaho for potatoes. But as you will see, tonight's movie, potatoes are kind of a vital component of it. Like they really wallowed into the stereotype of Idaho. So I'm like, all right. So yeah, a lot of potatoes. Their main thing is potatoes.
What's their main animal after that, though? What's a potato's natural predator?
The Irishman?
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
I don't know. What is the potato's natural predator?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
You said it, I think.
Did you see that one of its 2 Republican senators, his name is Mike Crapo?
I did not see that.
That's unfortunate. Like, I see why that guy grew up to become a Republican senator. His last name was Crapo. He must have been tormented.
Beat upon school.
Just everything. Hey, Crapo. He's like, I hate everyone.
He's the 6th Marx brother, Crapo.
It does sound like I love it. Again, folks, keeping track at home. Yes, Tim used a nearly 100-year-old reference because Tim is ageless.
So
well, Tim, because you're very
there
old.
Are 5 Marx brothers. One never got into the movies at all.
Is that true? What was his name?
Gummo, because he wore gummy shoes or what, those soft shoes that you wear. That's real. I'm not making that up. You know that gum eraser type material they make products out of in the 30s? That was his shoes. Well, they called him Gummo.
Holy shit. There really is a Gummo Marx.
I told you. I know my Marx.
Tim, he's listed as a American actor and comedian, so I guess he did.
Huh. Maybe he did it once, but he wasn't there long. They had their 4th brother that was with them for a little while, and then he was like, I'm out.
Who was that one?
The straight man, Zeppo.
Oh, I think I've heard of Zeppo. So wait, let me see if I can... There's Groucho, Harpo.
Yes.
Chico?
Yes.
Oh, I got it right. And then Gummo and Zeppo. Wait, and whatever you said, Zeppo.
Yeah, Chico, he's a very thoughtful, nuanced Italian stereotype, if you remember his character.
Were the Marx Brothers Italian, though? Are they able to get
Jewish?
Okay, so that's not great. So his real name is probably not Chico then.
No.
Okay. Look.
Idaho.
Did you read, speaking of Crapo, did you read how Idaho got its name?
I did, and I kind of was like, George is going to read this.
I have to read this aloud.
Oh, I guess I missed something good.
Yeah, it is. This is amazing.
I fell asleep.
Tim, you have to look into that. I think you're suffering from some sort of narcolepsy.
Sliffering?
Really?
You said sliffering.
Okay. Yeah, you just wait till you mispronounce stuff, buddy boy. All right. This is from Wikipedia, but I did check out the various links, so it all seems to be on the up and up. The name's origin remains a mystery. In the early 1860s, when the U.S. Congress was considering organizing a new territory in the Rocky Mountains, the name Idaho was suggested by George M. Willing, a politician posing as an unrecognized delegate from the unofficial Jefferson Territory. George Willing is the original George Santos, apparently. Oh. George Willing claimed that this name was derived from a Shoshone term meaning the sun comes from the mountains or gem of the mountains. But it was revealed later there was no such term, and Willing actually claimed he had been inspired to coin the name when he met a little girl named Ida.
What?
Isn't that fun? So Idaho, whoa, buddy.
That's it? That's the end?
Well, since the name appeared to be fabricated, the U.S. Congress ultimately decided to name the area Colorado Territory instead when it was created in 1861. But by the time this decision was made, the town of Idaho Springs, Colorado, had already been named after Willing's proposal. So,
too late.
It's
a made-up name.
Made-up name. Fake Shoshone name. I love it. After meeting a little girl named Idaho. I mean, okay, if you meet a little girl named Ida, isn't there a better suffix you could attach to that than ho?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about
back then? It maybe didn't mean that.
Yeah.
Back then they were called. I don't know.
Maybe he used her as a gardening implement.
Concubine.
Yeah.
That was the word back then, right?
Yeah, but are you suggesting that the state should have been called Ida Concubine?
No,
I honestly think too we should cut all this part out because we're talking about a little girl.
All right,
So
Idaho.
I thought that was great.
But the band, I thought of something new. I looked up.
Is Idaho really a band?
No, I looked up what rock band is from Idaho.
Paul
Revere, the Raiders.
I always thought they were English, but of course they wouldn't be. They're called Paul Revere. How dare they not be from Boston?
His name was Paul Revere, and they dressed like revolutionaries.
His real name was Paul Revere?
Yep. They didn't think too hard about it.
Who would do that to their parents? That's mean. Like the parents, like that's very mean to name your last name is Revere. you know what name you shouldn't give your kid? Paul. You just shouldn't do that. I know that they're kind of like around the time of the British invasion, which is why I thought they were British. But they're actually fighting against the British. They were actually saying the British are coming. Yeah.
Paul Revere rode from town to town in Idaho.
They had muskets. And their flag.
Let's see what else I got.
Why don't we do the flag now, or you leave it to the end?
You do your flag. I thought the flag looked respectable.
Yeah, this flag got right with God. Because if you remember, Delaware had two men eyeing each other. This flag's got Lady Justice and like a adult Boy Scout with a shovel and axe, and he's eyeing her.
Is Lady Justice topless?
No, she's blindfolded. He's like, oh, I'm into that. Want to blindfold me? Yes.
Yep, that's the second time we've brought up the idea of underage sex in this episode already.
Lady Justice, I assume, is an adult.
Yeah, you said a Boy Scout.
He looks like an adult Boy Scout.
Okay,
Eagle
Scout.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's
speaking of graphic stuff, did you see that the first ever graphic on a license plate was issued in Idaho?
No, you really get into
in
this
1920. I do. I enjoy this stuff. In 1920, and guess what it was? A picture of
a potato.
Yes, it was a fucking potato. I mean, Idaho. Come on.
What's it? This is just
like
there's indentation, right? What do we call this? Relief or an image? What'd you say?
Embossed. It said a graphic image.
So it's just a lumpy circle.
Yeah, with like eyes on it, maybe like little dots. A little Irishman off to the side going, "Nighty tie." There we go. There's our Irish.
Yes. I was going to say, at least put an Irishman on there chasing the potato.
Yeah, with a little fork and knife. Okay, so I got a few more things. Let's see. First, here, cryptids. I was to say, what weird monsters are believed to live within Idaho? And there's a bunch, but the top 3 are all lake monsters. There is
I didn't know that.
Yeah, in Payette Lake, there is Charlie. She is a big dragon sort of lake monster. In Lake, Pend Oriole, there's Paddler.
Okay.
That's a big old lake monster.
I think I've heard of Paddler.
And maybe. And then in Bear Lake, there's the Bear Lake Monster. That guy doesn't get a special name. That's interesting, though, right? There's a lot of lakes in Idaho, apparently. And they all got monsters in them. Yeah. And they're all definitely real. First elevator was in the... and Paddler's definitely real. Paddler is an occasional guest host on this podcast.
No,
right?
I ordered one.
We just have to...
Online.
That's Tim. I don't know if that's legal in New York. All right. The first elevator was in the Idaho Hotel in Boise in 1901.
How many floors?
Did I say first? Only 5.
Nice.
But what's exciting?
Okay. What? Sorry.
It did. I didn't read what it was powered by, but it did say that the rich and famous would line up to take the ride up to the top of the 5th floor and down again.
So Mark Twain was there.
Mark Twain. Do you think he really ever went to Idaho?
Yeah, he went everywhere, man. He's been everywhere. He was a traveler writer. Come on.
Okay. All right. And first streetcar was also in Boise in 1891. That's the first electric streetcar. There was some mention of maybe there was mule-drawn cars before that.
Nice.
Yep.
Mark Twain
that's
wrote
all my
that
Idaho
one too.
Facts.
I say.
Yeah, he did. He actually had his legs cut off in that one. A lot of people don't know that about Mark Twain.
This is a kind of contamination we really have.
You got me there.
It's everybody's responsibility to keep pornography out of this state.
Strange and unexplained events are occurring.
You say your friend was pulled out of the car by some guy in the monsters. What in the hell is this stuff?
Some people are missing.
All right. Should we talk about the movie?
Being. We usually The Being from 1983.
The Being.
We usually place these movies by stating how many years before or after Star Wars they came out. But this was made in 1980 when Empire was out. It came out in 83. No, but it came out. I didn't do the 80. It came out in 83. It was made in 80.
Oh, yeah, because it couldn't find a distributor for 3 years.
And I do want to say, seriously, Jackie Kong, a woman, she made this movie. It must have been hard in 1980 to make a movie. I can't say it was a great movie, but at least she got her movie made. And, you know, her producer husband is Bill Osco. He directed a film. Wait, did he direct it? A film we know as Flesh Gordon?
He produced it.
Oh, did he produce? Okay.
Yeah.
Got
He
that
also,
wrong.
he was
already.
the main character in this movie. Did you
Her
catch
husband?
that?
The main character? Oh, I did not know. I was reading. Wow.
So here's the thing. So the main actor, the character Lutz, who is a police investigator, he is played by Osco, who is the producer of many adult films, including most famously Flesh Gordon rather.
Yep.
But he's credited under weird names. I think it's like Rex, XX Chamberlain, and something else this movie. But if you read
I was distracted by Martin Landau. He's such a big actor. So
insane.
He was in North by Northwest with Hitchcock.
Well, Tim, this is an interesting factoid I just kind of deduced myself. This movie contains 3 Oscar-winning Best Actors.
Oh, nice.
Martin Landau won a Best Supporting Actor for playing Bela Lugosi in Ed Wood.
That's right.
Dorothy Malone, who is the mom of, what's her name, Marge Smith? She won an Oscar for something I didn't write down. And Jose Ferrer, who plays the mayor, he also won an Oscar. Jose Ferrer, fun fact, was married to Rosemary Clooney, is the nephew of George Clooney as a result, and his son is RoboCop's own Miguel Ferrer.
Wow.
Yeah, he was also married to Uta Hagen. That guy got around. He had a lot of fun. There was another person he was married to who was kind of famous, but I forgot who that was too.
You really did your research.
Yep.
But did you see Martin Landau started out as a editorial cartoonist?
I did. That's crazy to me.
He drew a comic strip called The Gumps. I got to find this comic strip.
He drew another comic strip called Ziggy.
He did. Yeah, really? As long as he stayed away from that comic strip owner's arc.
Yeah. Oh. So Bill Osco, the guy who was the producer of Flash Gordon, was the main actor of this movie. I thought he looked just like Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters and Nirvana.
Yeah, and
it was a little disconcerting.
He was a bad lead. And Ruth Buzzy's in this. Her real life husband was the cop, the blonde cop who gets killed. That's her real life husband. She's still married to.
Really? And what is Ruth Buzzy famous for? Could you fill us in on that? Because she didn't win an Oscar, so I didn't bother looking about her.
Mostly TV comedy. She was comedy sketches, and she was on Laugh-In, most famously. She was on Sesame Street later in her career when she's older.
Wait, she wasn't the one on Electric Company who would go, "Hey, you guys." No. That was like Rita Moreno, right?
Ruth Buzzy, yeah. Ruth Buzzy's famous for his character, like an old lady with a bun on her hair that holds old ladies' hairs together, and she has a purse, and she hits men when they insult her. You've never seen this character?
No. It sounds old.
Wow.
sounds very old. No, Tim. You have to understand, Tim, most people your age are dead already.
She appeared in Lawrence Welk. Come on.
Oh, God damn it. Can I share... Before we talk about Ruth Buzzy, who is like easily the least important person in this movie, Bill Osco again, I want to tell you something crazy about him. So I looked up his Wikipedia and I saw a notice I've never seen before.
Uh-oh.
It says this article right at the top, an official Wikipedia thing. This article may have been created or edited in return for undisclosed payments.
What? I've never seen that.
I've never seen it either. So apparently he or someone operating in the interest of Bill Osco paid to have his, and this made me nervous. I went and checked my Wikipedia to see if I had any like notices, because we've been noticing a lot of people have been saying they don't meet eligibility. Now this thing,
right.
I'm happy to report my Wikipedia is still up there. I also checked out your Wikipedia, Tim. I'm sad to report it's still not there, but I did find in the files, there is a photo of you still from when it was up there. All I'm saying, it'll be very easy for some avid listener, whoever our one listener may be, Kevin Cablasto, to go on to Wikipedia and reinstate Tim Hamilton's Wikipedia entry.
For no money. So this film is filmed nicely, I will say. The cinematography. Mostly, yeah. There's some
here's the weird thing with this one. I was telling my wife this earlier today. Watching this movie the other day, I really liked it, and yet I remember almost nothing about it.
Right.
It reminds me very, very strongly of several other movies, most notably Chud.
Oh, it's right.
It's very similar to Chud. It's about like toxic waste being hidden in a town, mutating people into monsters, attempts to cover up that act. It stars a lot of people who became more, or actually, a lot of them were famous already before this movie came.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's crazy about this one. Like most of these actors were super famous already,
and they got the same mayor as Jaws, like as you're alluding to.
It's definitely Jaws.
So it does start with a voiceover, which I hate. I don't like narration. Didn't need it.
Weird too. Only time it happens, a weird voiceover that never comes back.
And the kid runs from a junkyard. I think he's in a junkyard.
Yeah, he looks like.
So you think?
It's definitely a junkyard because they stay later when they recollect the car. They're like, it's from the junkyard. He's in a junkyard. He's running. He jumps in a car. This kid looks like the little guy from Stranger Things, grown up a little bit, but becoming a MAGA Republican because he's got a red hat on.
This junkyard is where they. Oh yeah.
It's the kid. I was just saying the kid with the no teeth in Stranger Things. I don't know what his name is. No Teeth Jones or something.
I haven't watched that since first season.
Yeah, I think he grows teeth back later. In the first season, he's one of the little nerdly kids.
That was like 10 years ago, George.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Tim's like, it's like 10 years ago. You know I only make references that are 40 years or older.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this junkyard looked like the junkyard in Superman 3.
I don't remember a junkyard in Superman 3.
What? That's the best part of the movie. Remember when he splits in two and Clark fights Superman in the junkyard? Because they made like red kryptonite or something. Remember, it made him evil in Superman 3. Don't remember that?
I remember him being evil because there was the scene where he's in a bar and he's like flicking pennies and shattering on the bottom.
Yeah.
He looks awesome when he's angry. And he melts the mirror, which I'm like, shouldn't it have shoot the light back at his face?
I thought the same thing, George.
But it looks cool. I always thought that was a good effect.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember the bad guy saying he never wore the same pair of socks twice, which I was like, that's wealth.
That's what Trump said.
Yep. Trump is a Superman villain.
He gives his old socks to Eric Trump.
And then Trump wears them on his head.
He wears them for a week.
I remember there's a scene where Richard Pryor skis down a skyscraper.
Yep.
And I remember there's a scene where the guy, it's name and scenes movie.
So the monster. So this kid, I'm not sure if this is his car, but it works.
No, they specifically say when they recover his body that it's they recognize as being from the owner.
The owner's car. Well, the monster.
The guy who owns the junkyard's like, I recognize this car from the junkyard.
Gotcha. So the monster.
The kid's running.
Oh, sorry.
We get a monster eye view of it chasing the kid. He gets in the car. Something's pounded on the roof. That's pretty good effect, right?
Yeah. Got his head ripped off. That was okay.
I didn't somehow pick up his head was ripped off, but I read that. So I'm like, okay, his head got ripped off.
Yeah.
I thought the effect of after it rips a hole through the roof, which like I said, good effect. When you first see the monster and it's just like this slimy hand moving really fast, I thought that looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was fooled into thinking this might be a better movie than it was for a second.
It's like the Invaders from Mars there, War of the Worlds. Their claw hand, only tiny.
It did look like that. Yeah. But it was like, just like this is the possibly slimiest monster I've ever seen in any movie. And that's including like the various iterations of the Blob. Like this monster is just slathered in KY jelly.
What about
every
Slugs?
time you see it.
That you don't remember? That was pretty slimy.
I don't remember.
We watched Slugs. There was slime everywhere.
That's so weird that I forgot that movie. I have notes for that movie too. Like that's one I paid attention for.
So Mortimer Lutz, he's the police chief. I don't know. He's the police.
He's a police investigator. It says, yeah.
And he's investigating this car that there's slime in it. He can't open the trunk, or does he open the trunk? He doesn't look in the trunk anyway. Because when he gets in his car, someone peeks out from the trunk. So the monster's in the trunk of the car.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. No, the monster was outside. The monster kills the tow truck driver. Not unless this isn't important, but the tow truck driver's gone. Then Lutz comes back, and the monster, I think, follows him home.
And I should say we're not really seeing the monster clearly at this point. It's like...
Yeah, it's one thing. This monster's everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
It just pops up.
Oh, that's like every Bigfoot movie we do. It's like, well, I'm 5 feet into the woods. Here's a Bigfoot. Like the monster is omnipresent. Yeah.
They were able to afford a Fleetwood Mac song when this kid shows up, Bobby. Just like last week's movies, Bobby picks up a girl because they're going to go make out. You don't remember these two? Just teenagers.
I'm just trying to remember that. What was the Fleetwood Mac song?
I don't remember.
Okay, sure.
It's 50 years old song. Come on.
Oh, that's I don't know that new music.
Tusk. It was Tusk.
Was it really? It was Tusk?
It was from that album.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the cop is arresting Dudley for fishing without a license. His name is Jose, and he's Mexican. And I've never heard this insult before, but you heard what he called him?
Something tacos.
A taco bender.
A taco vendor.
No,
not
bender.
A bender.
Taco bender.
No, Tim, he literally says, you know how many tacos you have to sell to get out of this ticket? And then later he refers to him making tacos too.
Taco vendor.
He's a taco vendor.
Well, bender. Okay, that's better. I don't know if that's better.
I don't know if, well,
as far as
that's the
being
thing.
a bad insult.
It is troubling that I assume the character is Hispanic. We never really, presumably Mexican. You can't really tell, but he is mentioned multiple times in relation to tacos.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're diving into this without so it's the town of Pottsville, Idaho. Mm-hmm. It's being plagued by these murders. We don't know it's a monster yet. It's just these weird murders where there's green slime left there. They've mentioned while Lutz is investigating that other people have been missing before this. So we're picking up where this is not the first of these things to have happened.
And they watched Dr. Jones. That's his name. They watch him on TV. Dr. Jones. Martin Landau is Dr. Jones.
Oh, Garson Jones. Yes, played by Martin Landau. He is a chemical safety engineer that the mayor of the town, who's played by Ferrer, has hired to show that what they've been doing is safe. Because what have they been doing, Tim?
Dumping radioactive waste into the water mines and the potato mines. The potato mines are radioactive.
No potato mine. No, they're into the water supply. They're dumping radioactive waste, and they're very open about this. So people are like, I don't know, we're all gonna be glowing in the dark. Everyone's very kind of just well, we're getting irradiated. But Martin Landau is on TV, and he's drinking water from goes, see, I'm drinking the water. It's fine. There's not that much. Look, and he has a Geiger counter. You get more radiation from your TV. Just because we're pouring millions of gallons. His wristwatch, that's it. Just because we're pouring millions of gallons of radioactive waste into your water doesn't mean it's not safe. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is probably not safe.
Well, Mortimer says, what a liar.
Mortimer Lutz, our hero, played by Oscar. Yep. Yeah, he's watching.
Nothing about him. Yeah. Nothing about him. Has no wife, kids, girlfriend.
No personal life at all. We know that he kind of looks like Dave Grohl, and that's about it.
So.
He does have a girlfriend, Tim.
I know, kind of.
Okay.
I thought he was interested, the lady, but I, wasn't sure if they were serious.
Well, I don't think how serious can you get with a guy like Mortimer Lutz?
Yeah, I know. Because later in the movie, he's supposed to pick her up, and he's like, "Oh, dang it, I forgot.
I got hung up." Yep.
So now those kids, they go to the drive-in. That's why they showed us those kids.
Yep, we see some kids. They go to a drive-in movie,
which is confusing because if the drive-in, so they watch a monster movie, and a lady gets attacked by a monster, but that monster looks similar to the monster we see in the movie, right?
Yeah, so, I was. There was add. Confused. I think the filmmaker Jackie Kong was being kind of clever here, because there's a naked woman on the movie theater painting her nails, and then suddenly a monster comes in and is attacking her. It's just whatever this movie was,
it goes on for
5 minutes. 5 minutes of just going just being wrestled with this monster. And while this is happening, the two kids, they're not kids, they're adults that we just saw kind of drive into the thing. They're also getting down and dirty while green slime is pouring in through the AC of the car.
Yep.
And then she gets killed. He and she are getting killed by the monster, and she's also topless. So it's 2 topless women are getting killed.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, at least there's nudity, but then that's it for the whole movie. I'm like, wow.
So this monster goes around the drive-in, just knocking on cars, killing people. These 2 guys are getting high, and they're like, what's that?
Guy wearing a monster costume. They'll do anything for an extra buck. I'm going to roll down the window and tell him to, and it pulls him out the window and kills him. And his friend's so high, he's just like, dude.
Yeah, because the police come later, and his friend is still high. He doesn't say anything.
I think that was meant to be funny, right?
Yeah, I think there's some stuff in here that's meant to be funny.
Folks, I want you to understand, like this, there's just this like a good 30-second close-up of his stoned friend. Like, I spend a lot of time looking at stoned people. I do a weekly podcast with Tim Hamilton.
Jeez.
I'm used to staring into the eyes of people who are stoned to the bone, but this guy was lit.
Remember that movie, American Movie? Isn't that what it's called?
That's the one about the making of the movie Coven.
Coven, yeah. He looked like his stoned friend from that movie. I forget his name.
Yeah, Stone Jones.
He's dead now, sad to say.
Oh, he is?
He died recently, I think. I forget.
How did he die?
Was it
COVID?
Cancer? No. I think he had cancer. I think it was.
It's always fucking cancer. Cancer sucks.
So.
I don't know what happens next.
A diner. I was excited, but there's no old men there. I hated this diner. I thought there'd be an old man.
I don't remember the. Can you tell me about the?
His
the
love interest
scene?
is a waitress. You know.
Oh, yeah. I guess that was a diner. I was thinking more of a cafe. What's her name?
Laurie. Ellen Blake is the waitress. She was on Hill Street Blues, and her name is Laurie.
Was she? Yeah.
This movie is just a series of attacks. Mortimer goes home to go to bed.
I was really hoping. Yeah. Well, no, he does. He does say something to her. He's like, "Hey, I want you when you go home tomorrow night. I want you to wait for me. The stuff's getting dangerous out here."
Yeah.
And then he goes home,
and the monster's in his bed. That's why I'm like, oh, this monster just pops up like anywhere because he pulls his blanket back and there's like slime in his bed, and the monster's in there.
Yeah. Why was the
And he ran out.
Weird.
There was a chase, and there was a train coming.
Yeah.
And he's like, he jumps across the train, like where it's coming, to separate himself from the creature.
It's that classic move where there's the train running vaguely parallel to it, and they get in front of it. So
George.
That was a list.
That was a Union Pacific, George. That train was a Union Pacific Legacy Double D 35A number 70 engine. Classic train, George. And then he gets scared by a farmer with his John Deere tractor. And it's Easter Sunday. That's one thing that's about this movie. It's Easter.
I've never seen a movie except for like maybe if I had ever seen The Last Temptation of Christ, I should never have, but I've never seen a movie set at Easter, which Tim, I figured this is a good time for me to do my list.
But Critters 2. Okay. Well, before you do this,
what about
Critters 2, it happened at Easter, by the way.
Did it really? Yep.
Interesting.
What's your list?
So,
what is your list?
This is based on a true thing. This movie was original filming title in this movie was Easter Sunday.
That's right.
It was originally, before it got delayed for 3 years, was going to be released on Easter Sunday of 1980.
Good plan.
Instead, it got delayed until November of 1983. But so after they were obviously going to miss the first Easter Sunday, they went through a bunch of different names for this movie, and I have a list of some of those other names they were going to use.
Great. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Mr. Potato Head.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, you didn't explain the monster yet, but it does look like a potato head.
Yeah, it does. Also, it's Idaho. Jaws in Idaho.
Nice.
Because the mayor, we didn't really get to any of the mayor. The mayor won't let news of the murders get out because it'll be bad for business. And in this town, business, as he says, we're not even joking, business is potatoes.
Yes, they just ship them out.
He's worried it will hurt the potato business. That's the whole driving factor of this, where they won't shut down and deal with this monster. Another title it was going to be called is Martin Landau's Got Bills to Pay.
I don't think he did. But.
Teenage Mutants, Secret of the Ooze.
Hey, yeah, there's a lot of ooze in this.
There is. And the Teenage Mutant, I'll get to that later because I don't know if you picked up in that part. Idaho Jones and the Massage Parlor of Doom.
You didn't explain there's a massage parlor in this movie yet, but
There's
there
a
is.
whole running plot line where there is a massage parlor we opened in town, and Ruth Buzzy and various other people are always campaigning against it because it'll bring in undesirables.
They're getting rid of Spud.
And the final name I came up with was Chud 3 Spud the Chud.
Nice. Hey, that's
Yep.
the real title,
right.
isn't it?
That one really could have been. They
Actual
they really could have like added to the box office this by calling it. Except for, was Chud out yet? I don't know. Chud came out the year before. So, yep. That's
Well,
my
George,
list.
I have a list right here too. That's weird.
Weird.
I was worried you did mine. I did a list of other movies that take place on Easter Sunday.
Oh, nice. Last Temptation of Christ?
No,
That's
first,
Good Friday, I guess.
There's Porky's. That takes place on
Porky's.
Easter. Oddly enough,
That might.
Porky's 2 the next day. That also.
Oh, that was that 1 year Easter kept going on. It wouldn't end.
Yes.
I remember that.
And the third, The Passion of the Christ. That took place.
Is that what? Oh, I can say Last Temptation. You're right. It's supposed to be Passion of Christ. No, Last Temptation of Christ is a good movie. Passion of Christ is Mel Gibson's weird torture porn.
Have you seen it?
No, I
Okay.
never will.
I'm curious. Well, how can you criticize it, George?
Because I'm a closed-minded person. I don't like Mel Gibson. Although I did rewatch Signs recently.
Oh, I've never watched it.
Yeah, it's starts off good, ends poorly.
Water.
Has the single most distracting cameo by M. Night Shyamalan in any one of his movies too.
Cool.
Like it really grinds the movie to a halt.
Does he cameo in all his films? I'm not a big.
Yep. Yeah, he's like
M. Night head.
like a real. Yeah, he's always in all his movies.
You know, I never saw Sixth Sense.
Yeah, he cameos as Bruce Willis in that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
But it took me too long to see that I just heard, the whole twist. Like, I've never seen it. I know the twist. That's one movie that was spoiled for me.
What other movies were spoiled for you, Tim?
That's it.
No?
That's
You
it.
spoiled
Zapruder.
Empire-
I knew.
was
I'd heard what happened in Zapruder before I saw it.
Didn't you say Empire Strikes Back was spoiled for you? Like there were some kids online saying like, "Oh boy,
No,
Darth
Jedi.
Vader's his father." Oh,
Jedi said that was cool when they took Darth Vader's helmet off and he's all messed up. It's kind of a spoiler. Well, I didn't know that was going to happen.
You knew he was going to be messed up.
Thought he might have a little scar like Dr. Doom. And he's so
so vain.
vain. He can't stand it.
Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't it that Dr. Doom had a little scar and he was so upset by it, he put the red hot mask to his face, thereby irrevocably destroying his face because he couldn't brook any imperfections?
Maybe that's what happened. It's a controversy.
You know what? Hold on. Let's call Jack Kirby and see what he says. Do you mind? Can you
Roy
dial
Thomas.
his number? Beep boop 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 beep boop. Hello, Mr. Kirby. Wait, you do your Jack Kirby voice.
Yeah.
Jack Kirby, when you designed Dr. Doom, Vincent Von Doom, did you expect him to have just one thin scar on his face or have a big old melted potato head face?
Get out of here, you Nazi nerd. Hangs up. I don't know.
Hangs up, goes, punches out a Nazi. Because, folks, Jack Kirby was a real American hero. That guy killed a Nazi.
2 of them. One with a knife.
Well, he felt bad about the one.
Okay.
Yeah. Sad. So back to the movie. Where were we?
Oh, Easter egg hunt, and this cute little baby girl finds a hole because this monster seems to have tunnels under town. And I thought she was going to get grabbed, but he gives her the prize Easter egg. All these kids are looking for eggs.
Yeah. Why did he do that?
He's got a soft. Well, we know who this creature is. I thought there was one creature.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Like, let's address this because we are gonna have a lot of trouble going in order with this. Martin Landau's been hired to prove that the toxic waste is fine by the mayor, who doesn't want to admit there's a problem because potatoes. Martin Landau rapidly becomes convinced while working with the police chief that there is in fact a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he's like, this is bad because we've done this exact same thing in 200 other sites.
Yes.
But there is a scene where we're watching an Easter egg hunt and Ruth Buzzy, who is the mayor's wife, is hosting it. And there is this cute little girl who's like very cute. Like she's flapping her hands in a really adorable way because she can't deal with anything. And like she finds like this weird, like
she's excited for Easter.
This weird creature. It looks like almost like a face hugger coming out of the ground. And you're like, oh man, is this movie going to have this little girl get killed? But then like what is presumably the main monster gives her the main egg that lets her win the whole contest.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be a monster egg.
And I think, judging by the after credit scene or post credit scene, that was another monster coming out of the ground.
I guess.
That was a little, this was no Ridley Scott's Alien. This movie was not thought out to the same degree. So little girl gets the egg, she wins. The monster is apparently, so should we say who the monster is?
Well, let's get to that woman first. Okay. The mayor's wife, by the way, is in charge of getting smut out of town. This little town has nothing, by the way.
She's running the campaign against the massage parlor on Main Street.
Yes, there's an empty store, and there's like rumor is there's going to be a massage parlor coming here.
And what part of the body will they massage? She says at one point.
Yes.
I'm like, I think I know.
And Dr. Jones is also there sweeping up. He's like, we got to sweep up Satan, he says, because he's trying to he hears Mortimer talk to her. And he's like, shut up about that stuff. Let's sweep up Satan.
Dr. Jones, you mean Martin Landau's character?
Yep, he's Dr. Jones.
I don't remember this. Dr. Jones. No,
they're
that
sweeping,
makes me think of Indiana Jones every time we say that.
I know.
Is he doing that just to be undercover, or is he doing it because he really believes in Satan?
Undercover.
Okay.
He's got lots of Playboys. Back home. He hides them in the empty massage parlor. So
they were right. She was right to think it was a receptacle of smut.
So, she wants to get everything out of town. She doesn't want the newspaper to have Boner's Ark. Doesn't like the name of that comic strip. She doesn't want that comic strip Penis. She wants to get rid of Penis comics. And everybody's like, no, you got to fix your hearing. It's called Peanuts. So those little kids. But she won't get her hearing fixed. You fell for it.
No, I was like, I heard you. I'm like, he's not making a Peanuts joke, is he?
She couldn't hear.
At some point, we see this woman who is she has some big old timey Hollywood energy. We recognize this a lot in Seddy Bimco movies, like famous actors on their way down. This is Dorothy Malone. She just
on their way down.
It is. It's like later career. She's this very glamorous looking, very tall, but like in her middle ages now, like blonde or white haired woman who's wandering through town, and like the kids are yelling stuff at her, and someone's like, I think the waitress is like, that's Marge Smith. Her son Mikey was the first person to go disappearing, and she helps her back to her house. And
that's later, George. And I think
she helps her back once before, doesn't she? No,
because she says, "Oh, that poor lady," and the police are like, "Yeah, she's been nutty since someone took her kid." He's like,
that was it. Yeah, the police suck. The police suck
all the time. Still upset that her kid got taken.
Yeah, you think she'd be over it by now.
So
there's a scene,
but this first time,
I guess it's that
kids throw shit on their window. Is that what you're trying to? That's the first time we see it.
Okay, yeah, and they're yelling stuff at like kids are being mean.
Yeah.
It's the ladies walking back after the woman who works at the girlfriend of Mortimer Lutz, the police inspector, is walking back when he's racing to her because you can't go out by yourself at night, and they almost bump into each other around a corner, and they're like, it's a jump scare, and he's like, I told you not to leave. She's like, well, you were late. He's like, I was busy. Why was he busy? He wasn't doing anything. He was just like,
oh, you're getting ahead of me.
I'm sorry, Tim.
Well, I'm just saying there's the other cop who's blonde. My notes here says he pulls over a lady. She's pretty, so he lets her go. And then a dog scares him. And then the monster's in his backseat. Maybe remember this? It actually reaches through his chest and
pulls his heart out.
Yep.
I thought that was later.
It's somewhere here. It's still.
I just want to get to the part. The part that I thought was interesting is when the other police and the waitress are running through town. There's a pretty cool effect, I thought, where like the monsters apparently chase around a corner, and like what they did to simulate this is it looks like they just threw a giant hunk of meat.
Oh, into their car, that scene?
Into their car. It's pretty funny. Like,
yes.
Like, it's definitely not an actual human. It's just like they just throw this big chunk of meat. It's the closest view we have of the monster yet, except for its hands.
They open the car door and it jumps in. Yeah.
Jumps in, he kicks the car door closed, and they run off to somewhere. I don't know.
You're later when they get like stuck. Yeah, they get chased around by it. They lock it in a freezer.
I don't know where this is. This movie was just a series of attacks.
That woman, the woman who they threw poop at, we see her go to bed at night, and we get the clue. There's an empty room where kids' stuff is. And you're like, and your child is missing.
Yep.
And I have to say, if they focus this movie around her and her child, it'd be a more coherent movie. Like, seems like she's a big part, but they just she's a small part. She's a big part of the plot, but they don't spend much time on her.
Well, did you pick up that the monster is her kid?
Yeah.
Okay. The monster's her kid. They never come out and say it, but
nope.
like there's a scene where she comes home and she's acting like he's there, and there's like slime on every surface of her house and stuff. So the monster, her kid, didn't go missing as much as he mutated into this giant potato head pus monster.
So why do kids throw poop at her door? Do they know her son is the monster?
No, I think they just do it because kids are mean. I think that because she's a crazy person. Yeah. No.
Now Mortimer, he has this weird.
Mortimer Lutz, police detective.
They spend time on his weird dream where he's in an airplane with Dr. Jones.
I did not understand what's happening there. I thought it was a flashback.
It's a witch.
Yeah, it's the monster is like on the windshield of the plane, smacking on it, and then sucks Martin Landau out. It's all in black and white, and I'm like, am I watching a flashback?
You know, George, we have in this movie jumped in front of a train, was in a plane, and they have some automobile chases in this movie.
Remember, there's the scene too where Mortimer Lutz falls asleep in a small bed next to the monster, and he wakes up and he says he's got his hands between two pillows, and the monster's like, "I don't have pillows," and he realizes he's cupping the monster's balls.
Right. Yep.
It's a good scene.
That's a good scene. I think.
Are we to the end yet? Can we just
think that movie ripped off this movie?
Yeah, I think so. John Hughes, I think he does most of it. John Hughes and Jackie Kong famously won't work together because she's like, every time I do a movie, John Hughes does one just like it.
Yeah.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is just like The Being. Home Alone is just like Blood Diner.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, they go back in the diner, and another scene, George, did you not see this? Jurassic Park totally ripped this off. He's in the kitchen, hiding on the floor, sliding around with the pots and the pans, and he knocks a pot down, and the monster hears where he is. I thought you were going nuts at home. This is Jurassic Park. Spielberg ripped off this part.
Yeah,
you guys, the scene with the kids in the kitchen?
Yep. And then the monster runs at him, and he pulls down the metal sheeting in front of him, and he bangs his head into it, and he goes, no. But then the monster opens a doorknob. They have a whole fight with the monster. They lock it in a meat
freezer.
And this is the first look we get of the monster, and it's actually kind of cool because it's through the window of the freezer, so it's a little cloudy. And the monster, which has like just this kind of messed up, meaty looking head, is just going blah, 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 and like it's actually kind of scary the way you see it there.
Yeah, the way they did it.
Yeah. And they're like, we have to go. Who do they go get?
The mayor.
They get the mayor. Yeah.
But the monster melts in light. So there was more than one monster, but I guess the main monster was her son.
That's interesting. You think the monster melted?
Yeah, they find that out later. That sunlight will melt it. That's when they say, "Oh, we turned the light on when we captured it." That's what there was a puddle. You must have looked down. There was a puddle in the room.
I saw the puddle. I thought the monster escaped.
The monster peed and left.
I thought he just escaped. He leaves. Tim, wait a second. I just realized something about this monster. Remember in the scene in the drive-in theater when the couple's making out and there's all the slime pouring into the car?
Yeah.
The monster can become slime and enter places.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I think the monster does get out.
Inconsistent.
It is inconsistent, but I think that's like it's supposed to be he turns into slime to escape. Because the way they defeat him at the end, he does shock him with light, but he just fucking kills it with an axe. Spoilers.
Yeah.
And acid. He throws acid.
The mayor's like, what is this nonsense? Blah, 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 blah.
I'm not closing the beaches of Amity. Blah, blah.
So then we go to these guys at the place where there's going to be a massage parlor, and they're going to burn it down. They're like total Floridians. And
they're like, let's take the whole problem out. We're just going to burn down the massage parlor. It's just an empty store.
I was thrilled because they find old Playboys.
Yep.
And the one guy reads them while his pals get killed.
So Tim's list is going to be the names of all the different centerfolds?
Well, just one. The one he looked at. The centerfold from May 1983. Chatty Lorraine Musk. She was a centerfold. Her turn-ons, HO scale model trains. Her turn-offs were N scale model trains. Her favorite train was the Union Pacific Legacy Double D 35A number 70 that we saw earlier in this movie.
Your seldom unveiled train knowledge that you displayed earlier today makes sense now. You like this Chatty Lorraine Musk, and you're like, I'm going to impress her with my train knowledge.
I am.
Yeah.
Her favorite
Let me tell you about my rolling stock, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a little bit about trains. Her favorite meal is what? Tim burgers? T-bone steaks?
Ironically, a Subway sandwich. She loves trains, but she hates underground trains that she calls subpar trains rides.
Well, it's a good thing she lives in fucking Idaho then.
Her favorite book is Train Spotting. Not the book the movie is made about, but watching the trains of wedding dresses at weddings while she's in Scotland. While in Scotland.
That sucks.
So he runs away while he reads Playboy. His friends get killed. Ruth Buzzy has a party with a terrible singer. I don't know what that was about.
So Ruth Buzzy's having, it's a charity thing. Not a charity thing, a thing to like fund the shutting down of the massage parlor.
Getting rid
and
of
there's a woman singing, and Ruth Buzzy, while she steals away from the mayor's mansion, goes into the garage. The monster wraps a weird tentacle around her neck. Yes. And it was kind of a funny way of dying. Is she famous as a singer?
No, she's just being funny, I think. It was a little funny.
Because she does like a weird opera singing. She goes, as she dies.
Yes. Because the monster was in the garage and her husband just took off. That's also, he also left everybody to die.
Yeah. Oh, he gets scared and runs off. Her husband, the mayor, just runs off.
So they go to the dump if you want to. And that's where they say this creature dissolves in light. He's like, just like Eric Trump. Gotcha, Eric. I knew there was a reason I remembered that. And they're at the dump. This is like the final stand. Is this where this happens? Or you just want to get to it?
No, they had their final stand down by the river, right?
I thought it was at the...
Because Martin Landau goes camping down by the river, and that's where he runs into him.
He's out doing something with a gun. He calls up Mortimer. He's like, "Good, get out here."
He's doing something with a gun. Yeah.
He is. He's out there with a gun.
Yeah.
And Mortimer locks his girlfriend in prison. Because I was like, come on, this is a female director. And he does that thing like, it's too dangerous for you.
I couldn't bear if anything happened to you.
This is Daddy. He says a lot of things about me you don't know anything about.
That's pretty good, Tim. Wait, is it a dump, though, or is it like... I thought it was like a sewer.
I think
Did I just like... Yeah.
It looks like a construction site.
They're walking through like abandoned... There's like stacks of shit.
They find where he lives in a hut, and like, there's the tunnel.
But he doesn't live in the hut. He lives with his mom, I thought.
He has tunnels. They're like, he's everywhere in the day under these tunnels because sunlight hurts him.
Okay.
What were you doing?
I was watching this movie. No. Like I said, Tim, I really quite liked this movie, but like the next morning I'm like, it's like nothing stuck. Like nothing. They have a fight. Martin Landau gets dragged off screaming by its tentacles several times.
They have a truck, a pickup truck. And that's the monster jumps in the back. Remember, it chases them, and they shoot it through the back window. They jump out of the truck, and they shoot the truck, and it blows up. You don't remember this?
Pretty good explosion, actually. I do remember that.
Just shooting through the truck once. Why did it blow up? Do you know why?
Because it looks cool. Martin Landau gets killed. He gets dragged off screaming there's like three scenes in this movie of Martin Landau being dragged down to the ground by tentacles. Like he gets dragged out in the dream sequence and then twice before he finally dies. The monster sometimes has tentacles. It drags him off, kills him. I don't remember how. Did we see really?
They get into a warehouse.
They're in a warehouse. He
gets pulled away and it's actually a very stiff fake body like of the likes of the end of Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't know if you saw.
He gets pulled through a little tiny window.
They go in a warehouse and they see a little kitten because Martin Landau is like, I like that kitten. I'm happy about that kitten. There's a monster chasing
It's really cute. The two guys are like, oh, it's a cat. And they realize the monster's not in there. They're like, well, No, they actually think the monster's in there.
Yeah,
We
it is
better
in
get
there.
out. But they're like, well, we can't leave the cat here.
I know.
So these two guys, it's a cute cat. It's like a white. It reminded me of my cat Fran. It had like long, fluffy white hair. And they go in there and they split up, which is like, guys.
Yes.
And while they're looking for the cats, Martin Landau gets killed.
Gets eaten. Yep.
I should say the monster doesn't eat anybody. He just seems to dismember them.
Because Mortimer goes into another room and he shuts the door and he's like, yeah, we're locked in here together. Come get me. And there are body parts everywhere. Did you notice that? I wasn't sure who.
Yeah. I interpreted that as those were the body parts of Martin Landau.
Okay.
I think they were. It did happen very quickly. It's like we see Martin Landau die, and there's like 3 minutes of walking around with the police inspector guy, and then there's like just hands, just hands on the floor. And
so
he engages in surprising amount of fisticuffs with the monster.
Well, he has a shovel, right?
He has a
pick,
maybe a shovel first. He has poison gas.
Yes.
He puts on a gas mask and unloads poison gas. That doesn't seem to do anything. And the monster's choking him. The monster, let's describe the monster at this point. He looks like peeled meat. He's got a big old potato head. He's got one eye that hilarious. It actually, I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. Like
it wiggled a bit.
It was like, it wiggled a bit, but it did kind of look good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like he is slimy as all hell. He's got these long needle sharp teeth.
Like Alien.
He punches Mortimer Lutz. Mortimer Lutz falls down. He runs up and quote unquote bites his leg, but the jaws wouldn't actually work it. So you see the teeth moving to it, and you cut to Lutz going ah, and
then he steps on a nail. Mortimer, like,
that was nuts. And actually,
a rusty nail.
That was actually kind of a good effect too. I was watching that. I'm like, we see his foot down there. It's it's early '80s, so it's bell bottoms, of course. I'm like, how did they do this scene?
It's fake leg,
but it moved a little bit. It was like, like, is this? I think they got the actor who played Jesus in the Passion of the Christ.
Yeah, because he was good at that. And it's Easter.
He was a method actor, so
it's Easter.
Oh my God, Tim! Tim, I bet you that's on purpose.
My God, I just got it.
I can't believe that has to be right.
Yeah, that's got to be. Props to you,
goodness,
Mrs. Jackie Kong.
Jackie Kong, Mrs.
Sorry.
I assume she's a Ms.
Yes.
Let's call her Queen Kong.
Okay.
All right.
He tries to climb up a chain. Oh, it's motorized to go to the ceiling, but of course it gets stuck, and he falls on a bag of cement. I don't know. That looked like it hurt.
Yeah. He's getting pretty fucked up. So he's got the bit leg. He's got the bag of cement.
Throws potato acid on the monster. That's what I've written here. They make acid on potatoes?
I guess. I mean, potatoes.
You can make a clock out of one, I know.
Yeah. You could also make, you can use them to shoot little potato guns.
Mm-hmm. You can.
Mm-hmm. You can make mashed potatoes out of them.
He
hits the monster in the face with acid.
You get rid of it.
Yeah.
Irishmen will chase it. I don't know. I'm Irish. He beats this creature with a potato stick. And did he open the light from the sun?
No. And he throws the acid in his face. It flips out. He turns on the lights. It still flips out. And then he grabs an axe and apparently cuts it to bits.
But it turns into liquid, doesn't it? I thought I saw that.
No, there is liquid, but I think that's his blood.
Okay.
Or maybe he does get away, because now I'm thinking it was conveyed poorly, but I think the monster's method of moving is actually he melts. That's how we got into that car.
Yeah.
It was a locked car, and we saw slime pouring in through the the AC, and I never put two and two together there. So anyway, he seems to kill with an axe.
He climbs out the window and he tosses his hat in the air, just like Mary Tyler Moore does at the beginning.
That was
episodes.
Old reference, but funny.
You got it finally.
I didn't.
And the credits end.
If you asked me to describe the beginning of Mary Tyler Moore, I wouldn't know. And it ends.
And the credits tell us what happened to everybody.
Can I read them? What they are?
I was kind of like, I really don't care, but okay.
All right. So it's crazy they did this. They do it like a text thing, like the end of Animal House. Virginia Lane, who is the mayor's wife, Ruth Buzzy, was never found.
Right.
Garson Jones, that's Martin Landau, was donated to medical science by Mayor Lane.
Wow. He had the authority to do that?
I guess. Well, because this is why. Mayor Lane went on to become the first potato farmer in the White House. Lori, the waitress, well, turns out Detective Lutz forgot to unlock her. She died of starvation. Marge Smith was last seen looking for Michael in Modesto, California. I don't get that.
I don't either.
Why Modesto? And then Detective, this is the weirdest one. Mm-hmm. Detective Mortimer Lutz moved to Hollywood and became a stuntman.
Yes.
And did you see the post-credit scene?
Yeah, a little bit. Then I turned it off. Faces.
Yeah, but faces.
Well, it just showed the characters, like with their names.
No, there's a scene after that, like after a bit of credits come up, where it's literally like the way they do Marvel movies, where they show the main actors' names and stuff, and then you see just like during the the Easter hunt, like a face hunter hugger thing comes up to the ground.
Comes out of the ground. Yep.
I'll be back.
We're doing a new thing here.
Oh yeah, what is it?
Because we can't do wild card. It's supposed to be quick, but last week it went way off the rails. How is this movie like Star Wars? Uh-huh. Well, when Dr. Jones was being pulled into the pit, that was just like the Sarlacc pit on Tatooine and Jedi. These came out the same year. I think somebody saw somebody's film. Not saying
I
who.
didn't know that I thought you were doing Star Wars, not other Star Wars movies.
Oh, the first trilogy.
Oh, you're giving yourself a very wide spectrum then, aren't you, Tim?
Yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. Well, also that lady looking for her missing son was like Darth Vader. He was looking for his son eventually. He knew he was out there.
Also not really established in Star Wars. Do something related to Star Wars, Tim.
That's the first trilogy is my arena to craft these tales. And that's it. That's all supposed to be one sentence. That's why it's like Star Wars.
That sucks. Yeah, but you're not doing Star Wars. You literally did Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Two movies that, although sequels to Star Wars, are not Star Wars.
Well, okay,
I'm going to do mine. Mine is how is this
slime in the movie? It's just like when they were in the trash compactor.
Boom! There you go. There you go. You could have also said the monster looked just like that one creature that's in the cantina when you see the werewolf talking to the bloody stump. It goes. Roar.
Yep. Yes.
Yep.
That too.
I do Labyrinth, 1986's Labyrinth, directed by Jim Henson. This movie starred a guy who looked like a rock star, Dave Grohl. And that movie starred a guy who looked like a rock star and was a rock star, David Bowie.
David Bowie.
Yep.
That's it. What? That's it?
That's it. You said one sentence, Tim.
Is that what I said?
And you literally said it like 5 seconds ago. Yeah. Are you drunk?
Now it's 10 seconds ago.
Tim, now it's
revenge.
15 seconds ago.
Wherever you're hiding, I'll find revenge.
One of us will die. One of us will die. I will not let
you want me to do my story?
Yeah, do your story.
We got all the rights for the music back. Last week I played guitar and George just sang his story.
It was probably our least well-received story ever.
Well, Mortimer, I'm going to do mine quick. It's a quick story.
Mortimer Lutz.
So he ends up being a stuntman in Hollywood, as the end credits told us. He stepped on that rusty nail in the movie, and he almost died of lockjaw. That's why he ran off. He said, I'm going to live life to its fullest and be a stuntman in Hollywood. I lived. But Mortimer is so traumatized by dealing with the being that every movie he works on, he was obsessed with always trying to convince the director that the being should be in this movie that we're working on. So he would rework the script.
He has like a weird Stockholm syndrome.
Yep. He would rework the script.
Edward Norton style.
Yeah.
And Norton apparently. Yeah, he reworks scripts a lot, everybody.
And he would give it to the director. So like he was a stuntman in an automobile in Being John Malkovich. And he rewrote the movie as the Being John Malkovich. And the director's like, get out of here. And kicked him off set. So also he was a stuntman in a plane, like the dream he had in the movie. He was in Home Alone, and he rewrote it, and he said it should be called The Being Home Alone, and they kicked him off the set.
Are we going to do that on Unbearable Lightness of Being?
And when he was a stuntman on a train in The Unbearable Lightness of Being,
Yes!
he felt that the movie should be called The Unbearable Lightness of the Being, about a creature in Warsaw who wants to eat many people. But anyway, this keeps happening. And
it's weird. He has a lot of control over movies that he's just a stunt person on.
Yeah, they keep kicking him off. They're like, get out of here with these ideas. That's what happens.
Yeah.
So they eventually fired him. They wouldn't hire him anymore because he's going nuts. But he didn't give up on Hollywood. He became an animal handler because he found the animals would listen to his movie ideas and not judge him. But all the Hollywood directors who hated him, and they wanted to get revenge on him. So they gave him this animal handler job no one wanted, the job of taking care of the monkey Marcel from season 1 of Friends. And he had to keep that monkey company all the time, driving it in a car, flying him on planes, because no one else wanted to hang with him. Because you see, Marcel was into train spotting. Not actual trains, but he loved that new movie that was out. He wanted to see it like every other day or so. And if you didn't take Marcel to see that movie, he would crap and piss on your VH tapes that you taped your X-Files on, that Mortimer taped his X-Files on. And he would tear up all
tapes.
Mortimer's scripts. So Mortimer watched this movie with Marcel. And during the day when Marcel was napping, Mortimer would watch his favorite show reruns of Friends. But Marcel hated that show because they fired him. And one day Marcel caught Mortimer watching Friends and he lost his mind and tore up all of Mortimer's scripts and took all of Mortimer's money. And he wrote on the wall, because he could write, "You are now the being alone." And Mortimer had to move back to Idaho, sad and dejected, and take up train spotting.
What was train spotting this time, Tim?
He liked to watch the Union Pacific Legacy Double D 35A number 70 go by.
Back to that.
And one day while he was spotting a freight train headed east, he was hit by a freight train heading west. And he died. And his tombstone read, "Here lies human being Mortimer." The end. And that movie's called Being on Planes and Being on Automobiles and Being Hit by a Train. I will say that's terrible, but it's my little story. My little.
It started off good. I feel like that was spiraled out of control for you. You okay? You need to talk about it. All right.
They got revenge on him, and no happy ending there.
Actually, who was the revenge seeker? Okay.
The Hollywood producers didn't want him working on their movies.
Oh,
anymore.
so I don't think I caught that was like actually like engineered behind the scenes by a consortium of Hollywood producers.
Yeah, they got power.
Okay.
Especially Spielberg.
Yeah. Ironic, because the guy who played Lutz was himself a Hollywood producer.
Mm-hmm. Ironic. See, now you got it. Now you got my story.
Do you think the real William Osco actually worked against his cinema alter ego, Mortimer Lutz? Do you think he was one of the producers? Because he wanted to do, he hired him to work on Flesh Gordon. He goes, "What if we called it the Flesh Being Gordon?"
Yep, I get it.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, he was trying to peddle smut, but the guy in the movie didn't seem to care if they got the smut out of town. He seemed indifferent.
No. Poor Mortimer. Guy? There's a lot of guys.
No, Mortimer. Guy? Mortimer never seemed to take a side on.
Mortimer seemed to be a guy.
Smut.
I feel like Mortimer's a guy who needed a lot of smut in his life.
Yes. He was hoping for that massage parlor.
Yeah. He was like, "Yes, come on." All right, that was a good one.
The massage parlor was going to be called Happy Ending, so I don't know. They kind of gave it away.
Right there.
It's a clue.
Yeah. They should have called it Crouch Potato. People be like, "What does that mean?"
I don't know what that means either.
It's weird. It's kind of dirty. Okay. Are you done? You done?
Oh, it's done. Wow,
all right, mine.
Done.
Start my music. No guitar this time, because that threw me off.
What if this is guitar, George? Pre-taped.
What? Oh, I mean, if it's pre-taped, I don't have to listen to it, so that's good.
Okay.
All right. So, luckily, this movie actually gives us hints of where some of the characters went. I don't think I'm going for strictly speaking a revenge here. I'm just actually following up on like the sad leftover. So we know, Ruth Buzzy was never found. She was killed. We know Garson Jones was donated to medical science. Mayor Lane eventually starts his political career to become the first potato farmer. I made a joke. Lori died, but she actually was found waitressing in Akron, Ohio.
That's
I want
right.
to talk about Marge Smith. Marge Smith, mother of the monster, presumably. Michael, the supposed monster. She moves to Modesto, California. And you may have noticed, it was like, why did she move to Modesto? She was following the lead, Tim.
Yeah.
See, her house, we did get the glimpse of her house. Her house, it needed a little bit of cleaning. Green slime everywhere and stuff.
Right. Poop on the door.
One day, poop on the door. I mean, a lot of problems. One day she wakes up from her stupor that she exists in. There's been a lot of murders in town, and she just sees written in green slime on the wall, "Gone to Modesto." So she's like, I'm going to follow this. So she moves to Modesto thinking maybe my son Michael came in and wrote that in green slime. She travels to Modesto, California. Tim, do you know anything about Modesto, California?
Not a thing.
Well, I'll tell you some stuff. Modesto is the county seat and largest city of Stanislaus County in California. It's a population of 218,000, according to the 2022 U.S. Census, and it is the 19th largest city in California. Did you know all that?
I kind of remember.
Yeah. So she goes there, and she just begins her trip of like walking through town, calling after Michael. Doesn't take long for the local kids to realize this is a woman clearly in need of help. And unfortunately, Modesto also has a poop field where local people are invited just to leave their deposits.
No more
giving the local children a lot of ammunition just to hurl at her.
Jeez.
Unfortunately, Marge is getting pelted with human fecal matter day and night. And in order to stop this, she knows doors stop poop. So she goes to a door store and she buys a couple of doors. And she wears the 2 doors and walks through town all day, calling after Michael while being constantly rained upon with a steady stream of human dukes. This goes on for years, Tim.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
It's like my story. It goes on.
Yeah. It goes on. Chill. Yep. Not really. Eventually, her savings run out, and she realizes she needs to start making money. You know, these doors ain't cheap, Tim.
Yeah, I know.
She decides to open
She had savings.
She did, yeah. She decides to open the Modesto Potato Company. And the way this company works is she cooks you a hard-boiled potato. That's how you cook potatoes. She boils you a potato. She comes to your house and delivers it for you. It's a subscription service.
Nice. Just one?
Yep. Yeah, just one. You get a potato a day. She comes by. She has a bucket. She's walking in her doors, which protect her from being pelted. And she throws potatoes at your house.
Okay.
You're lucky they don't go through your window, but they might just bounce off your door. But, you know, it's... People they hear the sound of these potatoes bouncing off the door, and it starts the phrase. If you hear a knocking, it's Mrs. Potato throwing her potatoes.
Well, what kind of rhyme is that? You gave me a hard time one time just because I rhymed fondue with raking poo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was she out raking poo?
But no, well, no, but no, who's raking poo is all the local kids are, because that's how I mean, this woman's such a target. Like, these fields are getting pretty depleted. Luckily, she offers a coupon that if you... I don't know. See what happens, Tim? She finds her son, who's a monster, and the monster kills all the kids. Revenge!
Oh.
The end. Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a Batman villain.
I was
Bean.
gonna, and I'm like, she was gonna team up with Wormface, but no, Modesto. Everyone knows. I don't think. Do you think, Tim? Do you think Batman has ever been to California?
Oh yeah, he's flown there.
What does he do when he's in California and he gets a weird suntan on his mask, and then like he's Bruce Wayne, he's got like half his face tanned?
He wears bat lotion. Come on.
When I was in college, my roommate, a day after finals, he fell asleep on the lawn. So it was like summer, and he'd put like his shirt or like his hand over the top half of his face, and he got horribly sunburned in the bottom half of his face, but not the top at all.
Ooh.
So for like the next week and a half or so, he walked around looking like Homer Simpson, where he had like the bottom half of his face was like brown, and the top was not. Yep.
So what do we watch next week, though? I checked the mail.
Tim?
We have no mail.
Of course we have no mail. Nobody writes us, Tim.
What state are we going to?
We're going. Well, I'm as people know, I try to go kind of alphabetical. So we did Idaho. That brings us up to Iowa.
Okay. It's September. Next month, we got to make sure we get horror movies.
Oh, good. I'm glad because this one is probably a horror film.
Okay.
I am pretty excited for this one, Tim. It's available on YouTube. It is a true independent film, filmed by an Iowan with Iowan cast. It premiered and only aired in Iowa.
Whoa.
But it seems like it might actually be pretty good. It's called Zadar, Cow from Hell.
Is this another one from 2015?
No, this is from 89.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cow from Hell. Zadar.
It's Zadar. It's spelled Zadar, exclamation point, Cow from Hell, exclamation point.
1999, you said?
Yes.
Nice. Y2K. There's going to be a lot of Y2K here. Get
89,
ready,
not 99, Tim.
89. Oh, 89. It's going to be a lot of Batman references in here. Get ready for Batman references. Next week. Zadar, Cow from Hell.
You want to know what its subtitle is?
What?
A very funny movie.
Oh, I thought it was going to be utterly dangerous.
Oh. That's better.
Hoofing around with Zadar. I don't know. That's worse.
What if it said steer clear of this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Methane gas with the Zadar. Methane, I don't know.
So you'll have no beef with this project.
Yeah.
You
gotta go.
I love that your mind immediately goes, cows make farts.
That didn't immediately go.
You could have been like, who's milking this one? Like there's somebody you're like poo fart gas.
All right, look at our website. Look at our blog because I've done some artwork about this episode. And if you want to do
for God's sake, write to
George's
us,
story,
people.
you draw something about George's poop fields, easy.
Yeah.
We'll post it. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll definitely post it.
Well, if you draw like 20 poops, I don't know, just limit it to 18 poops in the poop field and I'll post your picture. But 20 poops.
Question, Tim.
That's a
Tim, what if they draw
too much?
What if they draw a picture of Marge Smith walking, being pelted?
That's just
does the 20 poop limit go to the poop already bespattered on her poop doors?
Yeah, if you're 20 poops on the doors.
I think you're limiting these people's creativity.
Follow us on Threads and Instagram and the blog and the website. All the other socials,
but not on Facebook and Twitter.
Nope. Fuck that Elon guy.
Fuck those.
He's going down in flames.
That guy's a jerk.
Down in flames. All right.
Was there a reason that like your Playboy model's last name was Musk? Is she like one of his?
No,
his
he wasn't around back then. Musk.
He probably was.
That's her fake name.
Evil never dies.
That's her made up name, Musk.
Okay.
Can you say goodbye so we can go? Is that it?
Goodbye, everybody. Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
So long.
Yeah. Bye.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
I know why that one is actually. It's not Lex Luthor because Gene Hackman's like, I'm not coming back for this.
No, but the villain was so much like, what's his name?
Oh, Metallo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
why is he not Metallo?
The guy from Krypton. Is that Metallo? I'm
Brainiac?
talking about Brainiac. That villain was like Brainiac.
Well, I thought he was more like Metallo. Let's have an argument about this.
He was a supercomputer, super smart.
I guess so, but then I think back then wasn't Brainiac was like a green guy with bulbs on his head.
Yeah.
Metallo was the robot guy.
No, you got them mixed up. Jesus.
No, you're thinking of the George Perez redesign of Brainiac from Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1986. Was this 1986, Tim?
Yeah.